Hello and welcome to Not Your Mother's Midlife Crisis. I'm Chris and this is my co-host Chris.
Hi Chris, how are you doing?
I'm having a good week. How about you?
Good, other than it's freezing cold out.
It is crazy cold. Like it was like you had said, it's hard to get to the gym when it's that cold. And
it's a whole other set of mental toughness.
Yes,
to get up and out of bed in the morning.
Just to get out the doors, like I can do this. So
and not hibernate. But I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, I'm excited to be here because we have a special guest today. We have Dr. Becky Gordy. She is a PT from Practically Perfect. A little bit about Becky is she graduated from Rutgers in 2018. She then got to be the team PT, which I think is like a dream job at Oldie Beacom University, and now she is a PT at Practically Perfect, and she hosts a workshop for strong foundations for osteoporosis, and she also hosts birthing classes. So welcome to Not Your Mother's Midlife Crisis, Becky. It's so wonderful to have you.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here and to get to chat with you guys this morning.
Nice. And while it's not planned, I love that we're all the ladies in red today.
Yes.
And, so we're in the spirit. Yes. So we're spicy today in our red
That's right.
clothes.
We just needed the margarita to go with it. That would have been the green.
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been perfect.
But Becky, welcome. And is there anything else you would like to tell our listeners about you that we didn't cover?
I've been a PT since 2018, so going on 7 years. I've worked in everything from traditional outpatient, college level athletics, and now I'm in what we'd consider a women's health type clinic, though men also have pelvic floors. So I've kind of done quite a few things in my time as a PT. So I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys about healthy bones as we age.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So going on that, Becky, can you explain the difference, just to start at the basic level here, between osteopenia and osteoporosis?
Okay, so osteopenia is like the step above osteoporosis. So healthy bone is what most of us hopefully have. I'm 32, so until about 30, we're continuing to build bone mass. If you start losing just a little bit of bone, it's not really pathologic yet. It's called osteopenia. As it progresses further, especially as we age, it would be considered osteoporosis. So that's a significant loss of bone mineral density that predisposes you to fractures.
Oh, that's very good basic information. There we go. Okay.
And then what would be what would you say are like 3 key preventative actions women can take to help prevent osteoporosis? And like really at what point should we be starting? You just said 30, we're still developing bone. So is it like, when you blow out the candles on your 30th birthday, let's start prepping?
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Up until your early 30s, you're building more bone than you're breaking down. So your body is fortifying your bone quite a bit. Once we get to our early 30s, it kind of levels out. So you're breaking down bone at the same rate that you're rebuilding bone. So you have good bone mineral density, but bones are going to be as strong as they're going to be at that point. From your early to mid 30s on, we start to break down bone faster than we rebuild it. And that's what causes the potential for osteopenia or osteoporosis. So biggest takeaway that I hope everyone gets is we need progressive resistance training. So you need to be strength training. The earlier the better. Even though if someone's 50, 60, 70 old, you can start at any point. You just might be starting at a lower level, and that's going to be hard enough for you to make the changes that we need to keep our bones healthy. So number 1 is resistance training. Number 2 is a well-rounded diet. You need to be making sure you're getting enough calcium and vitamin D, whether that's through supplementation, fortified foods, just a healthy diet, getting out in the sun. I know you guys mentioned how cold it's been lately, 17 degrees. It's not fun to go outside. In addition to that, if we're getting vitamin D through supplementation, we need K2 to help activate it, which is a newer finding that a lot of people are not aware of, especially if they're not up on the research. So resistance training, well-rounded diet, and then spending as little time sedentary as possible. So what that means is if you work a desk job, you're at your desk 8 hours a day, right? You're probably sitting there, you're working along, you're not getting up. So the amount of time you're spending sitting, not really weight bearing through your bones, we want to minimize that. So if you can get up and just walk to the bathroom if you need to go, get up and grab another cup of coffee, do whatever you need to do to spend less time sitting overall during your day. So breaking up the amount of time spending sitting down or sedentary. And a bonus one would be less alcohol consumption. 1 drink per day puts us at risk for bone loss. So
wow.
for men, it's 2 drinks a day. Women, it's 1 drink a day, which I know lots of people like a glass of wine at dinner, but just especially if we have other risk factors, that's like a bonus that can help kind of decrease your risk for bone loss.
Wow.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, but I'm really glad you mentioned about the sedentary lifestyle, because I know I convinced my husband to get a stand-up desk. I know that you have a stand-up desk. My daughter is working from home. Her boyfriend's fully remote. They sit an awful lot, and they're young. I mean, they do the weight training. They do a lot of different things, but I really believe in that stand-up desk, or something, if you don't have a job like you where you get to move around a lot, like you're on your feet pretty much all day long. But I love the idea of a stand-up desk, and I really want someone, and I'm giving out my own ideas, I don't know why I do that. I want a stand-up car. I think your car, people who sit in the car and drive, truck drivers, there should be an option to somehow get that weight off of your hips.
That would be cool.
There you go, Becky. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
If I had an engineering mind, I'd be all on it.
No. You know what? I have a sister-in-law who's an engineer. We'll work on her.
Yeah, sounds good.
I always give away my ideas, though. But anyway, I love that. I think that would be really healthy for people. So during when all this is happening, would you say that it's our hormones that are mostly affecting this, or how do hormones affect bone loss?
So it's a normal part of aging for kind of the change in the building bone to status quo, like keeping our bone levels about the same for a few years and then decreasing the bone. When we go through menopause, that is when there's a significant drop in estrogen, and estrogen is bone protective. So yes, hormones play a role at the age 30, not so much what's causing bone loss. That's just really a change in how our bodies are functioning. So we're growing up until about that point. We technically stop growing a little bit earlier than that, but we're still building bone and getting, our skeletons are maturing still until that point. But hormone-wise, if you have any issues, so if you have any thyroid issues, an excess of thyroid hormone can decrease our bone mineral density. So hormones in that respect affect it going through menopause. So there's, I believe, in the first 5 years after menopause, there's a 20% decrease in bone mineral density for most women. So it's the lack of estrogen. So it might be suggested that someone goes on hormone replacement therapy by their GYN, and that would be a way to help kind of mitigate that bone loss, because estrogen protects the density of our bones.
Oh, very good. Now, do you find, and I'm not talking about the past month where the black box warning came off, do you find that your patients that come in with osteoporosis, that they are being treated by their OBGYNs and they're advocating for the hormone replacement, or do you find it the opposite?
I find a lot of women are actually lost for who is going to be treating their osteoporosis, which is really tough. It could be their GYN, if they have a really good GYN. It sounds to me like a lot of my patients, GYNs, want to be on the OB side of things. So the younger women that got into this because they want to be helping bring babies into the world. The miracle, it's amazing. It's awesome.
Yes,
That's kind of the stage I'm at. But as soon as we get kind of past that stage, I don't want to say that my patients feel written off, but just kind of lost at where to go. Yeah. So it can be like an endocrinologist. It can be your primary care. A lot of times primary cares kind of try to refer out, which is not a bad thing. They're just not as adept or in tune to the most current protocols. I haven't seen a ton yet of people who haven't been on hormone replacement therapy going on to it. That doesn't mean they won't be. I just think it's a newer, like you said, the black box label is kind of removed. So it's a newer thing so far. I'm also treating a lot of people who are later into it, so maybe more like late 70s, 80s, who already might have a fracture. They might have the kyphotic curved spine, and not that they can't use that, but they might be further along into the medical intervention.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we did this.
Yeah.
Part of one of the reasons why we did this, because hormone replacement therapy is it was so taboo. And we were both on it, but we I get it from a functional medicine specialist, and you
from my gynecologist.
From a gynecologist, yeah.
And we had an integrative health specialist on, and
couple.
she talked about bone health and the impact that estrogen has on your bones as one of kind of like the iceberg, like under the water, that you can't see, because people are only focused on the hot flashes and
Yes.
mood swings and maybe just, brain fog. But the fact that it affects your bones and like we talked about all these other health issues is one of the other, like kind of a silent symptom that you don't know until it's too late and you break a bone and then everybody's
Yep.
coming to see you.
Exactly. We want to prevent it before you get to that point, not
Yes.
after the fact.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what's Wolff's Law?
Okay.
And how does it
Wolff's Law is named after a scientist, I think, in the early 1900s. Basically, bone responds to the stress placed on it. So if you are stressing your bone, so as kids, we do this a lot. We're running, we're jumping, we're playing sports, right? Your bone rebuilds itself to withstand those stresses. So the more stress you place on it, the stronger your bone gets. Subsequently, the less stress you place on it, the weaker your bone gets. So if you ever had a cast or one of your kids had a cast on, after that, their bone's weaker. You could see the atrophy in their muscles from disuse. Same thing happens the more sedentary we are. Our bones weaken more than they would if you were doing something like resistance training, running, doing like a plyometric workout. Those type of things help stress our bones in a way to maintain them at a healthy level. It's interesting that you could see, they talk a lot about pitchers. If you were to dissect a pitcher's throwing arm, the bone is a lot denser and thicker overall than their non-throwing arm. Because the bone rebuilds and tries to withstand the stresses placed on it. So the same thing happens to the rest of us in a normal capacity, but it's pretty cool to see Wolff's Law in action.
Very interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
And that does make sense because I know a lot of the stuff that you see online and with trainers that specialize in like women's health, they're saying to do it to basically do those box jumps and do plyometric activity, however many, if you could do 10 minutes 3 times a week and now it makes sense why.
Yes. Yeah. Now we know why we do
Yeah,
so
I know.
many of them. Yes. So what supplements would you recommend to prevent bone loss? And then are there different supplements that you would recommend after you've been diagnosed?
So it's going to be the same. It's going to be the calcium, vitamin D, and K2.
Okay.
Now you can get D and K2 as like a combined supplement, and then calcium. If you get enough calcium in your diet, that's fine. You don't have to supplement with it. The vitamin D is a lot harder for a lot of people unless you're doing a lot of fortified like cereals, milk, etc. And K2 is kind of hard to find in your diet. So supplementing them. Now, if you were to be diagnosed, your PCP or whoever's following you or your GYN might put you on a higher level of those things, a higher amount. So for calcium from women from 50 on, 1,200 milligrams a day is the suggested amount. And for vitamin D, it's 600 to 800 IUs, which I believe is international units. So that's like a good starting point. If you have any medical history, check with your doctor. Any heart conditions, sometimes the calcium, they don't want you to take too much if you're at risk for like plaques or anything like that. But that's a good starting point.
So is it hard for people to get the 1,200 milligrams from their diet? Like, is it something that really is suggested to be supplemented?
A lot of times, yes, because a lot of Americans don't have a well-rounded diet.
Okay.
They don't eat. They might be limiting dairy for one reason or another. They might not be getting like the good leafy greens. They might not like kale. They might not want to do fortified cereals. So yes, it's hard for a lot of people who don't have the time to meal prep and make sure everything is super well-rounded.
Okay, because I know it's hard. We talk about the fiber a lot and getting enough fiber, like when we spoke with more about it. And then, so yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like how do we make sure we get it's all the things. It's a lot of things to get in.
It's hard.
So now,
it is
I
so
know.
hard.
So now I'm going to be like, okay, what are my grams of protein? What are my grams of fiber? Yeah, how many milligrams of calcium I have to add this to
Don't
the
forget
list?
about the creatine.
Yeah, the D3K2.
It's tough.
Yeah. So
It
now I have to
really
go back
is.
because I do take that supplement, the D3K2, but now I'm
Oh,
going to
do
have to
ya?
look and see what
The milligrams.
yeah, what the IUs are.
I take an ADK, so I guess I guess I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Here I'm thinking, oh shoot, I'm not getting it. I take so many supplements, I don't even know at this point.
We say we're like Pez dispensers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're doing the right things, and that's what matters.
We're trying. We're always trying, Becky.
So in addition to the supplements, when do you recommend someone getting a DEXA scan?
So typically whenever you would be starting menopause, which I know like you might not know right away, am I not? Am I going through early menopause? Am I, going a little later? Around 50 is a good benchmark. A lot of times insurance might not cover it at that point, though. It's usually like 65. Medicare will cover one a year, which is good. But if you want to be preventative, you want to start earlier. If you have any additional risk factors, if anyone underwent like chemotherapy for any reason, if you're taking a long dose of corticosteroids, so like prednisone, if you've been on a lot of prednisone, those put you at increased risk for bone loss. So that might be a reason that your doctor would be able to get you to get a DEXA scan earlier and get it covered. Around 50 is a good, at least have it in your mind.
I remember I asked, and I think it was probably 2 years ago, and it was a different doctor, and she was like, well, you don't have a family history, so no. It wasn't even like you can't get a baseline.
And I did get one. I was able to get one. I guess I was about 52.
Yeah. No. Yes. So I haven't had one.
So that's ideal. We want it around 50.
Yes.
But like I said, it's hard. And out of pocket's always tough too.
Sure. You're hoping not to do that. But so can you explain the score and the ranges of a DEXA scan?
Yes, for sure. So it's a T score for like just a normal person looking at bone mineral density. There's a thing called a Z score that's more if you are a child who maybe underwent cancer looking at age match norms, but that's kind of irrelevant for this conversation. But a T score, anything from -1 higher, so -1 to 0 positive, is all normal.
Okay.
-1 to -2.5 is considered osteopenia, and -2.5 and below would be considered osteoporosis. And it's not like a ratio or anything like that. So it's not saying if you're -1 and now you're -2.5, your bones are 2.5 times weaker.
Okay.
It's just how the calculation is. So it's not, you can't say how bad am I from like -2.5 to 3 is 0.5 times worse.
Okay.
So it's just like a range. I believe it's based off standard deviations.
Okay. And what
so
does
you
it like,
want?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You want higher than -1. It's just like healthy, happy bone. That's what we're looking for.
Okay. So when it's doing that measurement, say you're a -1, is that just showing the bone is more spaced out, showing loss? How does the loss appear?
Yeah, so I wish I could show you a picture. Healthy bone is super dense. It's like really woven tight. So think of like a really nice, good pair of denim jeans. Like it's a really tight weave. As we lose bone mineral density, it starts to kind of space out and you see kind of gaps in the bone. So it's like worn jeans, right? You might start to get a hole. You might see it's a little threadbare. The more threadbare it gets, you predispose to a hole or a fracture. So essentially nice bones, tight weave. Demineralized bone is a failing weave, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to explain it.
I mean, except for
me
jeans
to
are
understand
comfy
it.
when they're that soft. Bones, not so much. Jeans, yes.
So we've talked about, and you mentioned like a sedentary lifestyle is, as a factor, but are there some other environmental factors or personal habits that can alter our bone loss, or on the flip side, that can help strengthen, our bones?
Definitely. So we talked about alcohol use, which most people don't realize. It's just like a little bit of alcohol over time can kind of weaken the bones. Tobacco use, which is less of an issue, I think, now because I did a really good job, like 90s, early 2000s, and, tobacco's not great for you. Poor diet, we already talked about. And then things like medication use. So if you have been, like I mentioned, on steroids for a while for any health concern that you've had, any eating disorders, which I know people don't like to talk about, but you're not getting good absorption of minerals. And you might not even know it's an eating disorder, but if you're really restrictive in your diet because, you're trying to lose 5 pounds that's been hanging on for a while, super restrictive, super low calorie intake, not good for your bones, not good for your bone, your muscle mass, anything like that. Sometimes if you've had a GI surgery or issue that way, you're not absorbing the minerals that you should. So a lot of things like celiac disease also might be someone who might need to be a little more aware of their intake. And then positive wise, like things you guys are mentioning, going to your trainer, doing your workout classes regularly, making sure you're getting your standing desk in. If you're going for walks, walking your dog all the time. If you've been running around to like kids sporting events and you're someone who's jumping in the bleachers, like all those things are positives for your bone health. Make sense?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely. And Becky, there's nothing we don't talk about on this show. So You are safe here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So are there any other final thoughts? Is there anything that we maybe didn't ask you that you think is really important for our listeners to hear?
Sure. So balance is a big thing people don't think about till it's too late. If someone is going to have osteoporosis or osteopenia and they don't have good balance, they're more likely to fall. Improving your balance is like the quickest way to decrease fracture risk. You can increase your balance in a couple weeks, working on, standing on one foot, walking heel to toe like you're walking on a curb, standing on one foot with your eyes closed, doing different things like that. Really, if you guys are going to your trainers, having a medicine ball catch on one foot or with one foot in front of the other, those are things that increase your balance significantly, decrease your risk for falls, and then you're less likely to get a fracture.
And she's so funny. She'll do these things, like, so when she brushes her teeth, she'll stand on one foot.
Yeah.
And to try and like keep just like little things that she'll tweak during her day just to work on things like that.
I do it when I'm standing like at the island I'm working. That's my stand-up desk, the island. I'll stand on one foot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
often.
Yeah.
And that's huge because a lot of times what happens is people will come to us and they'll say, my balance is bad. I'm like, well, when's the last time you did anything that you felt like your balance was challenged? I'm like, 15, 20 years. Well, if you don't use it, it really is a use it or lose it situation. Yeah. So if you start before you feel like your balance isn't so hot, then you won't lose it, So anything you could do to work on that is great. The other thing is that a lot of women in particular don't resistance train the way that they should. And that's the biggest thing. We talked about how resistance training is, honestly, it can reverse bone loss. So even if you get to osteoporosis, you can rebuild bone if you're, putting enough stress on it. So that's the big Wolff's Law thing. Historically, women are told just walk. If you walk, you'll be fine. Your bones will be strong enough. That maintains the level of bone you're at. It doesn't help rebuild new bone. You have to really stress your bones to rebuild new bones. So a lot of times, my patients in particular will come in and say, I've been doing body pump. I lift weights 2 or 3 times a week. I body pump. It's great. They've been using the same weights for 10 years. It is not resistance training. It is cardio. Cardio is great. You need your heart. But you're not making it harder. You're not doing a high, I think it's 50 to 70% of your 1 rep max. You're not rebuilding your bone. I don't care if you've been doing it for 10 years. So that's the big thing that women get scared. They're going to get bulky and they're going to hurt themselves. So you get a trainer who's great, and just know you don't have testosterone like a man. You're not going to get bulky unless you really purposely try to. It's hard. You have to be eating so much and working out so hard for so long to get bulky. It's just not going to happen for the average person. So making sure you're doing enough resistance training to get that bone growth.
Sure. We have a lot
super
of people.
Passionate.
Yep. Yeah, no. We are too.
Yes.
We don't have trainers. We do take classes. I teach classes, but I do have people that use the same weight every week. And I will go over and I'll say, I think it's time. And I'll just hand them a different pair of weights and I'll take the other ones away.
And there was a
Thank you.
There was a great quote. In fact, I sent it to Christina at the gym that said, you should be focused about increasing the plates on the bar instead of decreasing the numbers on your scale. And,
Yes.
Mm-hmm, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's like really what it is. Like that should be your mindset.
100%.
Yeah.
And women just get scared. Like, I'm sure. So if you're working at
There
the
are
gym,
some,
women are so scared they're going to get hurt or get bulky.
Right.
Like, if you get a nicer booty, there's no negative effect to that.
Right.
Like, there's nothing. That's a good thing. If I could, get bulkier there, great. Why not?
Right. Shapely arms are awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So.
And it is I think it's exciting. I'm so excited to just be like, here I am, 56 years old. If I can up that weight and put a little bit more on and see that progress, like, to me,
it's rewarding.
It really is.
It's rewarding. And then you really do feel empowered. You're like,
yes,
I can handle a fall. I can handle, carrying groceries or just, different situations in life that you get in that you need to act on an impulse. So to protect yourself.
Right. And you guys, I don't know how old your kids are, but when grandkids are a thing, my mom is in her 70s. She watches my daughter every day. My daughter's 37 pounds. Let me tell you, she has to carry her around. Like, you don't think about that until, you're older and you're like, oh, baby's 8 pounds, not a big deal. Well, if you're watching a 2-year-old, let me tell you, you need to be able to pick her up.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's a big thing.
Mom, I'm pregnant. Here's your training.
Here's your kettlebell. Go for it. Yeah.
That's right. Each month, upper one.
Yeah, be like, increase those,
exactly.
increase those plates. Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm having a strong, healthy baby here. Oh, that's great. So, along with the final thoughts here, do you have any workshops coming up? Can you tell people how they could come to a workshop or how to register?
Yeah, so they are coming up. I think our next one's in January. Usually it's a Wednesday, once a month, at our clinic here at Practically Perfect in Galloway. We have on our website or on our Instagram a link to register. It's totally free. I wish I had the date on hand.
That's
I'm sorry,
okay.
I do not. But we host them pretty regularly, and they're free. They're usually at 1:15 on a Wednesday. So,
Okay. If it's on the website, I will look it up and I'll just add it into the show notes.
yeah, perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. And so you mentioned, so you are Practically Perfect PT. I know because I follow them. You guys are on Instagram. And then do you have any other social media that you'd like listeners to follow?
So we have our Instagram and our Facebook.
Okay.
I don't have a personal professional
Okay.
Instagram, but yes, at Practically Perfect Physical Therapy is where we host all of our workshops.
Oh, great.
For everyone. Yeah.
And it is informative. So, yes. I mean, I personally follow it. So
Yes,
it's really
I
good.
do too. Yes,
Yeah.
so I see all the good stuff. So, well, thank you, Becky, for joining us. We truly appreciate it. I mean, it's a really important education that I think everybody needs, especially women, though. So, thank you so much for your time. It is truly beneficial to all of us.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you to our listeners. We appreciate your support, especially during this holiday season. We love growing our community. So everybody, please help grow our community. It means a lot to us. Please share, like, subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yes. And don't forget to order your merch. That's going to be on our site as well. And then look for our partners on Under Outfit, the awesome sports bras, as well as the Pelvic Floor Store.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So until next week, where we are going to continue to seek answers for women's health care.
And support one another.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.